This video is a video about the Canon XF100, which films in high definition video format. I'm just going to talk about how to use the camera, the basics of using the camera, and any recommendations if we get time. So, as you can see, it looks like a very nice video camera, which it is indeed. It has a battery at the back, it has two viewfinders, monitors, and it has the lens at the front. Let's start off with the lens. The lens is essential to capture our image, and in this case we have to make sure that we remove the lens cap, and it hangs down just carefully just there, ready to start filming. Turn the camera back round, and I want to next point out the battery. It has a battery just on the back just here, and it is secured in there. It cannot fall out. You have to actually push a button which is just on the top here in order to release it. So I'll just do that now. I push the button in. It still doesn't fall out. It needs me to hold on to it and remove it. So I hold on to it, and I'm going to lift the battery up just that little bit, and then the battery comes off, just so. Now, these very, very smart batteries allow us to find out how much battery power is in there, ready to work. I push on the check button. It shows me I have 3 blobs of charge out of 4, so it's not quite 100%, but it's pretty good. I want to put the battery back in. You have to make sure that these contacts are all at the bottom here in order for it to work properly. It will not go in any other way, so we just push that in and clonk. It's in place, all ready to rock and roll. Okay, so that's the lens and that's the battery. I'll talk a bit how to use the camera next. In order to start to use the camera, we have to turn it on. And on the top just here, it has a button which says media, off, and camera, the power switch. In order to turn it on, it has a locking device, which is this little green button just there. I have to push that in order to get it to unlock, push it in, and in this case, I'm going to move it over to camera. You'll see some lights turning on, which is clearly indicating to us that the camera is on and ready to start recording. That's the main one you need to make sure you know of. If that isn't on, the camera's not got enough battery power, or it's turned off in some way. So we've got our camera turned on. Next, I'll talk about the ways that you can see the image that you're recording from your lens. You can look through here. This is the normal viewfinder, which I strongly recommend you use most of the time, especially if you're filming outdoors, because in bright sunlight, it's the same with your mobile phone. It's really hard to see in bright sunlight what's on your mobile phone. It's the same as if you use this monitor. This is called the LCD monitor, which you can flip it around and turn it in any position you wanted, but it does stop at certain points, and you could film it, turn it around, and see what you're filming that way. If you wanted to do filming yourself, doing a vlog or something like that, you can flip it back round and you can flip it all the way to there. It doesn't go any further. It will move very fluidly within its limitations, but we'll flip it back round just for now, and we'll show you that we can now see on this monitor, this is called the LCD monitor, that it's showing exactly what we're seeing through here as well. I recommend that if you're running low on battery, that you stop using this one and just push it in, and then just use this monitor. So, next thing I'd like to show is the fact that we can zoom with our camera, zoom it in and out, and we have 3 different ways to do that with. The first way we have to zoom is just here. Twist that round, which is just here. This is designed for when you're hand holding the camera, not on a tripod. Your hand comes up through here, and then your fingers both rest on this, which is the zoom mechanism, which says a W and a T. W is for wide angle, T is for telephoto, when you zoom right into a subject. Now let's turn it so we can see a bit better there. So if I press the W right now, it'll zoom right out. I press the T, it'll of course zoom right in. Now this is very useful because a very useful device on here, because it allows you to vary the speed of your zoom. So if I was to push lightly on the W, because I'm zoomed right in, it will zoom out very slowly. But if I were to push, in this case, I'll push back to the telephoto and push it all the way, it'll zoom in very quickly. So it's variable, so you can change the way it zooms in and out. Very useful indeed. Now, just above that, we have our second place that we can use to zoom in. This is very handy. If you're holding the camera with your hand like this, your thumb automatically rests on top of there, and you can zoom it in and out. Let's turn the monitor, I think you can see it. You can zoom it in and out nicely just there as well. You haven't got very much to see on there, have you? What's very handy on the monitor, it also shows us where we are on our zoom as well, just there. As you can see, the number is changing, okay? Voila. Next, the third way of zooming. Now I'm just going to flip the monitor, turn it back round like that so you can see what we're doing here. The third way of zooming is this barrel right here. This barrel can do 3 different things, but for today we're only going to talk about 2 of them. If you put this switch onto zoom, it will then make this barrel another way to zoom with. Okay, so I have that on zoom at the moment, and I can use it as a manual zoom. So I can zoom in and out very quickly or slowly, or create any sort of effect I may fancy. It's quite fun, especially if you're zooming in and out in a music video or something like that. It's very handy. Okay, so that's the third way that you can zoom on the camera. This barrel here will also help you to change the focus. We have the camera set up on auto. I'll talk about it in a moment, but if we wanted to, we can flip that over and we can then change the focus ourselves very quickly and override the camera in its auto setting. So we're in an auto setting at the moment, and you can see just there it says full auto. Now that means that the camera has complete control, so don't worry about it. The camera will take the best quality image. You don't have to worry about focusing or anything else. It will do it all for you. And that button, if you find, has accidentally been changed or anything and you're having problems with getting a very good quality image, is look just down here. You'll see where it says full auto, M and lock. That's indicating the camera's settings. So make sure it is pushed onto full auto so the camera will do all the recording for you. You don't have to worry about it. To start recording on these cameras, you have 2 different ways to do that. I'll just turn the camera around towards you. You'll see just here it has a button which says start and stop, which, as you could probably guess, you push it in once, the camera then starts recording. When you finish recording, press it in again and it stops recording. Very simple, very easy. When you do record, I strongly recommend that you tell the person when you started recording. So I am rolling, and then you can say to the person, rolling, take 1, and 5, 4, 3, 2, giving them a countdown, which is quite nice, rather than a really sharp cutting in and out. I always prefer a space in between the finish and the start of a video. So it's still recording at the moment. I've finished recording, and we can say cut, and then the person operating the camera presses the button and cuts the record. Okay, very simple, very easy. Now the second way we have to record with is just on the top here. I think see in the video, yep, just on the top here it has a locking record and stop button, which is very handy. It's brilliantly designed for if you're holding the camera by your hand and you're moving with it, getting action shots type things. You can start and stop recording just here. Obviously the zoom's just here as well. So if I press it just now, you'll see it starts recording, and it has these fantastic lights on here, which tells me as a camera person that the camera is recording, and it tells the person I'm recording that there's the camera's in full operation and recording them. So these are very handy just here. And then again, when I finish recording, we say cut, it stops recording, and as you can see, both lights go off. Now, I'd like to also point out on this one, it has a fantastic locking device. So if you were in between filming shots and you just wanted to make sure you didn't accidentally start recording, you can flip this over to lock. That means that this button right now is not active. You cannot start recording. You can start recording with the button below, but you can't start recording with this one, okay? So that's one to be aware of. If you've got the camera and you want to start recording, you may have forgotten that you've got it in the lock button just there. So that's recording on these wonderful cameras. So let's have a look at the viewfinder just here and talk about all these different things that we can see on the screen. So first of all, at the top, you'll see that says a number there. And in this case, mine says 51 minutes, and it has a typical symbol that we have on our mobile phones indicating that the battery charge on the phone will give us 51 minutes of filming. And just below that, it has an A and a B. Now these are the cards that we're recording onto. I'll talk about that in a moment. It shows us that both cards, because it has two in this camera, will record 82 minutes each. And so it's very handy to have that displayed there because we can see how much time we've got left on our cards, and very useful. And as I said, that shows us that it's on full auto and all those settings are in complete control by the camera. So we don't need to worry about that. And then just over here, well, you can see this is my audio. It's got a built-in microphone at the top here, and it's showing us that it is able to record everything I'm saying here at the moment. So that's very, very useful to see and make sure that we're getting good audio recording levels when using that one or any other device. That's another video. Just above that, it's just reminding us that the camera is recording in full HD. So you don't need to worry, but it's just reminding us that those are the settings that we have. So just here, it shows us we have recorded 1 minute and 5 seconds. That's the top part. Now, next I want to talk about the cards that I mentioned earlier. This camera records onto what are called CF cards, compact flash cards. They are different to the cards you may have used before, SD cards or micro SD cards or anything like that. CF cards, they are larger and bigger. Let me show you. So we have card slot A and B. We can't access them, as you can probably see, but we have a little button which indicates, and it has a little arrow just there with a button. You flip that and it opens up that card, flip that and it opens up this card. These are the CF cards, these long slits here. You cannot pull them out. Please do not try that ever, you will break the camera. You have to push this button in here, this little grey one just here. I push it in once and then push it in twice, and as you may be able to see, the card is now popped out just a little bit just there, and I can easily pull it out and have a look at it. Okay, these, as I said, are called the CF cards, compact flash cards, and as you can see, this one has 32 gigs of memory. Okay, now what's very important is you do not try to put this card in the wrong way. If you turned the card over by accident and had it, in this case with the label, a different label on the side, and you then tried to put it in, it will only go to a certain point. If you force it now, you will break the camera. So do not force that in the wrong way. Just be aware it will go in very smoothly the correct way. So I've got it in the correct way. The writing's towards me saying SanDisk 32, and as you can see, I can very easily push it in with my finger and it's locked in. And then I close the actual cover, I'll close both covers, and now you'll see that it's green for the CF card slot A, and CF card slot B is not on at all because it's set up to record onto that one. So that's our CF cards, and that's our XF100 basic intro for video recording.